They told us the mine was harmless. Just a forgotten piece of land deep in the Appalachians. 3 nights, the supervisor said. Voice flat as stone. All you gotta do is dig, haul, sign the release form. Easy cash. 6 of us signed on, all ex-cons trying to scrub something off our records that soap couldn't touch. I remember the ride there. The fog. The trees leaning over the road like they were trying to whisper warnings through broken branches. The bus smelled like sweat and rust. None of us spoke much. There was a sound underneath the wheels, a hollow echo like the road itself was thin. When we arrived, the entrance looked less like a mine and more like a throat swallowing the light. No guards, no manager, just a single floodlight pulsing against the black mouth of the shaft. A clipboard hung from a nail. It had all our names except one. The blank line at the bottom caught my eye. Someone else was supposed to come, but didn't. We descended in an elevator that croaked every time it moved. The walls wet and close, the kind of damp that never dries. The air grew heavier the lower we went, as if it carried memories of everything that had died down there. We reached level 3, our base. They told us to stay above level 4 because of gas. That was the official word, but the deeper we dug, the more I felt eyes pressing against the back of my skull. The tunnel didn't just end. It braided. When you turned off your headlamp, you could feel the air pulse, warm and slow like lungs hiding in stone. Miguel, the youngest, tried to joke about it. Man, feels like this place got a heartbeat. Nobody laughed. The only thing that answered was a faint whisper crawling up the shaft, shaped like words, but broken by static. It sounded like someone saying my name. The first night we heard the dragging, not footsteps, just a long scrape, like something heavy being pulled across gravel far down the tunnel. Ray thought it was wind until it stopped, then started again closer. The echo folded in on itself, bouncing from wall to wall until it sounded like dozens of things crawling toward us. We shined our lamps, dust raining from the ceiling, glittering like ash. Nothing there. But the sound didn't stop. We huddled around the work light, pretending it was enough to keep the dark honest. Tana tried to call the surface radio static. Only static hand in the middle of it, a low voice whispering, "Keep digging." He laughed it off, said maybe someone upstairs was messing with us. But when he turned around, the radio light flickered off by itself. I caught his reflection in the metal's mouth open, whispering the same words he'd just heard. The second night, the tunnels had shifted. We marked our path with chalk, but the marks were gone when we came back. Instead, they were new lines, smooth, curved, like fingernails dragged through wet paint. Miguel found a side corridor not on the map. He swore he heard crying. Against every rule, he went in. The sound of his boots faded, then a scream tore the silence in half. We ran after him, but the tunnel bent like a maze alive. When we found him, he was standing still, eyes open, mouth trembling. He said he saw faces in the rock hundreds, pressed beneath the surface, mouths moving without sound. He wanted to leave, but the elevator had stopped working. We were trapped. I asked the supervisor through the intercom what was going on. No answer, just a faint breathing sound on the other end. When I slammed the button again, the voice whispered, "Almost there." That night, I dreamt of hands reaching through the walls, pulling me into stone. I woke up to find Tanner whispering to the wall like it was listening. He said the mine was talking, said it was lonely, said it wanted names. His pupils were so wide they swallowed the color. He grabbed my arm and hissed, "It's not gas down. They're its memory, and it remembers everything it's eaten." Then the lights went out. Something moved behind us, slow, scraping nails along the rock. My headlamp flickered on just long enough to see a figure at the end of the hall. Too tall, shoulders scraping the ceiling, skin like coal dust, no face, just a hollow. When I blinked, it was closer. We ran, screaming, and our echoes stretched and warped until they didn't sound human anymore. By dawn, Ray was missing. His helmet lay at the shaft's edge, dented inward like something had sucked it from the inside. The rest of us didn't talk. We just dug because that's what fear does, it makes you obey. The deeper we went, the softer the ground became. It wasn't rock anymore. It looked organic, veins running through it, pulsing faintly. When I touched one, It twitched. Miguel von Tanner laughed until he coughed blood. The whispers returned this time, counting down. Every number made the lights flicker. When they reached 0, the ground collapsed. We fell into a chamber we'd never seen. The walls were coated in something like tar, but it moved. It braided. Shapes trapped inside its arms. Legs. Faces shifted, as if still alive. In the center, a hole, leading deeper. A perfect black circle humming so low it shook our ribs. Tanner stepped forward in a trance. He said he saw light down there. Miguel tried to stop him, but Tanner smiled. We're already inside it. Then he jumped. The hum rose into a scream that cracked the walls, spilling cold air that smelled like rust and salt. The faces began whispering louder. Miguel and I ran. The tunnels twisted into impossible angles. Something moved behind us, pressing the walls outward like skin stretched thin. Miguel looked back, one wet sound, then silence. I reached the elevator. The door stood open. The surface button pressed itself. The elevator shook violently as it rose. Halfway up, it stopped. The intercom crackled. The supervisor's calm voice. "Congratulations, you made it out," I screamed. "What was that thing? What happened to the others?" He chuckled softly. "They're still working. The mine isn't empty anymore." When the doors opened, the sky was gray. No vehicles. No people. Just wind moaning through trees. I stumbled out. Ran until I collapsed. A truck stopped. The driver said he was hauling supplies to a new work site. When I asked where, he pointed back toward the ridge. "They're reopening the mine," he said. "Big government contract. Hiring ex-cons again." My hands shook uncontrollably. I begged him to turn back. He laughed. Said he needed the money. The radio hissed, whispering, "Keep digging." The driver didn't notice, just hummed along with the static like it was a song he knew by heart. Now, weeks later, I can't sleep. When I close my eyes, I see the walls breathing, the hands pressing out of them, hollow faces mouthing words I almost understand. My apartment smells of coal dust. The floorboards pulse at night. I hear footsteps pacing underneath slow. Patient. Yesterday, I found black veins creeping along the bathroom tiles, pulsing like they're alive. When I touched one, it whispered my name. I think the mine followed me home. Maybe it never wanted workers. Maybe it wanted witnesses. Sometimes I hear knocking beneath the floor. Knocks pause. 3 again, the same pattern Tanner used when he wanted to smoke in secret. Last night, I heard his voice through the vent. "Shifts, not over." I screamed until my throat tore, but the air just swallowed it like the mine had swallowed us. Black dust spreads on my walls now, and when I wipe it away, there are shapes underneath faces half-formed, smiling in the plaster. If anyone finds this recording, don't go there. Don't sign any contract that offers easy money for digging where no one is supposed to dig. They sent ex-cons into a mine that wasn't empty, and the mine decided to keep them. It's hungry, patient, and it remembers every voice it's ever heard. I can feel it listening even now. If this gets uploaded, if you're hearing my voice, it means it already found another way out. Maybe through the speakers. Maybe through you. If your lights flicker while you're watching, don't look at the shadows. They're not shadows anymore. They're doorways. And if you think you can handle Marif, you think this story was just fiction, click the next video. But be warned, the next one doesn't end where you expect. It starts when the lights go out.